How's it going, everybody? It's your boy KCG Trades back with another weekly watch list video. And if you guys can't tell already, I did some upgrades to my setup. I got a webcam and it finally came in. So I'm very excited just to, show my face while I make these videos. Hope you guys don't mind at all. But yeah, I'm very excited, mainly because of the stock market and the fact that we're back in a confirmed uptrend. We've been patient. I've been very patient, just waiting for the right setups, the right opportunities. And although I didn't play this drawdown as well as I could have, I did learn a lot, and I'm very excited for the fact that we're back in an uptrend. The bull is back, and I'm ready to make some money again. Just getting right into it. If we take a look at the indexes, the S&P 500 back at all-time highs. The IWM, which is the Russell 2000, back at all-time highs, and even the Dow Jones, all-time highs. Very excited. Basically, the uptrend has been confirmed that we're back in an uptrend, and the only thing missing from joining this rally is the Nasdaq. The QQQ has not joined it, and that is perfectly okay. It will eventually join it. So excuse me. Hopefully it does soon. And essentially we're just looking for a follow-through day. Has not come yet. We're really looking for one. Hopefully it comes on Monday or Tuesday. Essentially a big volume thrust with price making new highs for the past new highs compared to this past week. And if you don't know what a follow-through is completely, I would really recommend reading this book, How to Make Money in Stocks by William J. O'Neill. He is the GOAT of the stock market. And that was not an advertisement. That book really just changed my life. And I'm very excited because a lot of the names that we watch, a lot of growth names, are setting up for new buy points. They're not exactly ready yet, as a lot of the names are just setting up that left side of that base. But there are a few names that we could get into if you're interested, that are setting up, the early cheats, or little falling wedge breakouts that I like to trade. So yeah, I'm just going to get right into it. Starting with the first name on my list, Airbnb. All right, so Airbnb, as mentioned, is the first on my list, and I haven't really gotten a chance to get into this, but it is something that is heavy on my radar. Taking a look at the chart, Friday morning probably would have been the best due to the fact that it broke out of this downtrend line here and just rallied for the rest of the day. It did a red to green move as it opened below yesterday's high, which is basically gapping down, and it just recovered and closed very high in its range around the 206 level. Had a really strong day. So I did not get into this, but this is something definitely on my radar. Airbnb is basically a reopening theme. Essentially, when COVID just settles down, people get their vaccinations, things open up again, people are going to want to party, they're going to want to go out, they're going to want to travel, and Airbnb is usually the first thing on everyone's mind when finding a place to stay. So Airbnb is definitely on my watch list. No exact buy point yet, but I am very interested in keeping this on my radar to wait for an official buy point. As of now, just be patient. So the next stock on my list, ACLS. All right, so ACLS is setting up very nicely here, looking to break out above this downtrend line into new all-time highs above this 4120 level. Nice prior uptrend from the March lows. March lows 12.99 to the high of 41.20. Essentially just looking to break out of this downtrend line here. I'm really watching for that $40 round number level. If we could get above the 40 level, which will be above the Thursday high above this downtrend line, that will be very bullish, as well as if we could get some volume coming in as well. Anything above that 500k would be good to see. Would like a volume thrust to get above this and then get above this 4120 all-time high level, and then once we get above that level, it'll just blue skies ahead. So that's what I'm really watching for. Not much complication to this one. Very simple. Get above that 40 level, then 4120 all-time highs. The next stock we have is Draftkings. So Draftkings is a name that's been very volatile lately. It's just been held down by the market essentially, but the whipsaw back and forth action from 72 down to 54 up to 74 is not something you really want to get involved in unless you have cushion from like the low levels down here. But it's very hard to hold something that whipsaws like that. So you want to wait until the volatility contracts. You get tight action, tight price action. That's when you want to get involved in a stock. Right now, there's no real setup here. There's no real buy point, but the reason this is on my watch list is because of the fact of that it made all-time highs, and it's a Nasdaq name, while the rest of the Nasdaq names are, setting up left sides of bases. So this is showing superb relative strength, as well as a reopening theme, gambling. A lot of people, just want to gamble away with sports, casinos, stuff like that. So Draftkings is at the forefront with that. And yeah, so essentially, like I said, no real buy point yet, but one to watch moving forward because of the fact of the strong relative strength, as well as the fact it is an all-time highs, so really one to watch. The next stock we have is DMTK, Dermtech Inc. So this stock is setting up beautifully. One of the trades that I really like to do is a falling wedge bull flag type breakout, and this is setting up perfectly. Huge prior uptrend from the $10 level all the way to 84, and it just pulled back with the overall Nasdaq. But now we're setting up nicely. The volatility is contracting a bit. We're getting, a nice basing action around the 50-day moving average. The 50-day is still uptrending. The 10 EMA is below the 21, so we would like to see that, cross back again, but it will take some time. So essentially, I'm just looking for a breakout above this, above the high of the Friday candle, as it was an inside day candle compared to Thursday. Looking for a breakout above that 54 level, and then essentially break above this downtrend line and see where it could go from there. So that's essentially what I'm watching. DMTK. So the next stock on my list is Shift4 Payments Inc. So this stock is another one that doesn't really have a buy point as of yet, but it is something we cannot ignore. Huge gap up on Thursday, and it had a pretty good closing candle, as well as Friday. It didn't give up much, and it just had an inside day candle. So that's exactly what you want to see when there's such a big move like that. Now we just want to see it basically go sideways for the next couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, basically build like a pennant formation or like a symmetrical triangle, something like that, and then essentially break out from that. Obviously, it may not happen. It could definitely fill the gap. It could do whatever the heck it wants, but that's something I'm watching for. A lot of times, we see gap ups like this, goes sideways, creates a nice little pennant, and then breaks out once again once the move has been digested. So that's exactly what I'm looking for with this stock. And since it made the 90, it gapped up into the 90s for the very first time, it's usually a sign, a lot of stocks that hit 90, they want to go straight to 100. It almost did hit 100 at 99, so I'm really watching for that 100 level. And then once we hit that 100 level, that Jesse Livermore level, 120 is next. So that's really what I'm watching for. The volume pattern is really strong. Really a lot of the green, the big volume candles have been accompanied with green days. That's great to see. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. Patience, as always. You don't want to jump the gun because, like I said, it could always fill up that gap or just continuously go sideways for the next couple of weeks. You don't want your money tied up. You want to enter at that exact point when it's ready to break out or while it's breaking out. So that's what I'm looking for with 4. The next stock I'm watching is FUTU. All right, so FUTU is another one of those plays that had a very strong prior uptrend, literally from 36 to 204, and then pulled back as the overall market did. It actually filled its prior gap and then continued higher. So that's actually great news to see. Now it's just flagging here, creating this little bull flag pattern. And it had an inside day on Thursday and gapped down to the 10 EMA, but bounced straight up. It actually went above the Thursday high and actually broke out of this flag here at the 169 level. That was its high, but then pulled back below this flag again. So I would want to see just a couple more days of sideways action, just to get the volatility to contract a bit, and then essentially a breakout above this flag would be healthy. I would really want to see that, just some sideways action and then a breakout. That's really what I'm looking for. FUTU has very strong estimates for future growth, revenue and sales growth. Revenue and earnings growth. So yeah, this is really one to watch, one I'm very interested in moving forward. So the next stock we have is GM, General Motors. So GM, this isn't really the type of stock that I'd be interested in buying. It's not really a growth stock anymore, but you cannot ignore the chart. Could be like a little turnaround play, but the chart speaks for itself. Huge prior uptrend since the March lows, and now it's basing very nicely here and actually broke out on Friday into new highs. Is it all-time highs? Yeah, it broke out into new all-time highs on Friday on very strong volume. So, this is something you can't ignore just because it doesn't fit your exact criteria. It doesn't mean you can't look at it. It doesn't mean you can't watch it. It doesn't mean you can't trade it. This is something that you can't ignore, like I mentioned. And what I'm watching for, since it already broke out, basically a retest of that breakout. A lot of stocks that break out tend to usually retest their breakout zone. So I'm just going to be watching that. If we could get like a little test of the 57 level, bounce from there, go back to highs, I'll be watching that. But this is just a name if you want to, switch it up a bit. You don't want to be strictly growth. If you want to switch it up, get some exposure in other names. GM is really one to watch. All right, so the next stock we have is C Limited SE. So SE is one of the names I really like. I really like the company. I really like the business. And as mentioned in my previous videos, one I really want to invest in long term. They are not profitable yet, but their earnings growth and their revenue growth is tremendous. They will be profitable in the next couple of years. And it's like the three-headed monster, So this is setting up nicely here, basically flagging. It got above that 10 EMA on Friday and Thursday, back above that 10 EMA, and it's basically dead on that 50 moving average right now. So we're looking to get a thrust above that, as well as basically above this little downtrend line here. It is a little bit more unorthodox compared to the ones I usually trade, but this is a name that I really like, and it's such a strong name that every opportunity you could try to get into it, you would want to, So I'm looking for a breakout above this 239 level essentially, which will be back above the 50-day, back above the 21, back above the 10, and then try to make new highs. Yeah, that's essentially what I'm watching for this stock. The next one is SI, Silvergate Capital. So with SI, if you guys can't tell, a lot of these names are setting up the exact same patterns, and they aren't exact buy points in terms of like a real type of base or a real type of pattern. But these are nice little swing trade opportunities, as well as opportunities to possibly get into these stocks before they set up their exact buy points, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So with SI, another stock that's had a huge prior uptrend from 14 all the way to 187 in just a couple of months, and then just pulled back with the overall market. And now we're setting up beautifully here, pulled back to the 50-day, bounced right above it, never closed below the 50-day. Now we're just flagging here. We actually did break out of this downtrend line here, this bull flag on Thursday and Friday, held at 10 and 21 EMAs. The only caution here is we did have basically two wicks here. That's basically showing that, some sellers came in. But we are still above this downtrend line here, above this bull flag. So essentially I'm just looking for a sideways action now. What I want to see is just some sideways action, and then basically I would want to see this. This is my ideal scenario. Just some sideways action and then a breakout above this 145, 146 level, which would be like an early cheat type of entry. That's what I want. And then go along and boom, all-time highs. That's exactly what I would want to see. Obviously, this is just my ideal situation. Might not happen. Could definitely just go sideways and fall, go sideways and do what I ask, or it could just, continue making new highs. I wouldn't be mad if that happens, but we don't want to see, like V-shaped recoveries. We want to see ideal constructive bases. So it could be, constructive, and so it could be lasting. A lot of the times when it's just V-shaped, it's more prone to failure. We want risk to reward ratio in our favor. So for SI, it is a very volatile, very tricky name because of the fact it just moves so fast. And in one day it went from 101 to the low of 102 to the high of 146. So if you could stomach that type of action, you could get in whenever you want, but we want volatility to be contracting. We want tight price action before we get involved. So that's what I'm watching with SI. So next stock I'm watching is Skillz SKLZ. So Skillz is setting up a beautiful pattern here, looking to break out above this bull flag pattern here. I'm looking for a move above that 2950 level, and then basically a move above its short-term moving averages. It already is above the 10, which is great to see. And now we're just looking for a break above the 50 and the 21 EMAs, so we could get back into its uptrend. It is setting up nicely here, all confined in this little bull flag pattern here. Nice prior uptrend from 10 to the 46 level. And like I said, essentially a lot of these stocks are setting up the exact same patterns. These aren't the best ideal entries to get into these stocks, but they are very low risk, high reward entries if you get them at the right times. So yeah, if we could just break out above this downtrend line here, above this bull flag, get above the 2950, and then continue to move higher, and then see what happens after that. That's what I'm looking for. So the next stock I'm watching is Snapchat. All right, so Snapchat is another one that doesn't really have an exact buy point as of yet, but the reason it's on my radar is the fact that it made such a strong move on Friday. It was basically screaming at me to put it on my radar and to keep it on my watch list, mainly because of the fact of its strong move on Friday. You know, it gapped down on Friday morning, but it recovered, made a red to green move, and it closed near the highs, basically made new highs of the day. Went to 64.36 and just sold off the last couple minutes of the day, but huge volume came in. Beautiful close. So this is something that's definitely going to be on my radar, showing you that people are buying this stock, people want this stock, and the fact that it's above its 21, 10, and 50-day moving averages shows that it's, you know, ready to continue its uptrend. So as long as we get that, you know, that QQQ, that Nasdaq rally, this will definitely rally with it as well. So this is definitely one to watch. No exact buy point as of yet, but another one that I would want to see for, you know, that early cheat entry. Maybe we get some sideways action here for the next couple of days. Just go sideways and then buy that breakout above that 64 level. That would be ideal. Something I'm watching for, but who knows what happens. But keep it on your radar because this is a stock that wants to make new highs. So the next stock on my list is SQ Square. So SQ Square is another one of those stocks that are setting up very nicely here. Very similar to C Limited's setup. Just having a bull flag here. It actually broke out above this bull flag and now back above all of its short-term moving averages, the 10, 21, and 50. Great to see exactly what you want to see. And it actually did do a little undercut and rally above the January 27th lows. Undercut it, so it took out all of its stops, and basically rallied back above it. So great. This is great constructive pattern, one to watch for sure. And I would like to see this move above the 243.85. Basically, 244 is where I would want to initiate a position. Basically, this another one that could just go sideways for the next couple of days. And then get that early cheat entry. But 244 is what I'm watching to enter this stock. So the next stock we have and the last stock we have for the day is Twitter. All right, so Twitter, following that social media theme, you know, with Snapchat, Pinterest, is setting up beautifully here. If we just take a look at the stock, it had a double inside day from Thursday and Friday. So essentially, we're looking for a breakout above the highs of the inside day candles, which is around the 68.75 level, 69 level, if we want to make it a round number. 69 level is really what I'm watching for to break out above it for an entry long. I would like to see some volume come in as well to confirm that this is, you know, buyers are stepping in again. And this would also be above the 10 EMA, the 21 EMAs. So that's great to see, confirming that uptrend. In regards to the chart, it didn't exactly fill that gap that it had in February, but it almost did. But now the pattern is setting up nicely here for a nice rally phase, potentially retesting highs. The double inside day is showing us that volatility is contracting and not many sellers are left in this stock. So I'm really looking for a move above that 69 level with some volume for an entry long. And that's essentially it for this weekly watch list video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If I earned your thumbs up, please smash that like button. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, share with your friends and family. You know, any support I could get, I really appreciate it. And hope you guys have a wonderful week. Stay safe and enjoy the markets. Take care.